Peace, love, and light, family. Sister Taufi here, creator of kmsc.online, where we talk about the divine nature in your spirit. I am here to share with you Netter Fundamentals, Course 1, Spirit 1, which is Auser, the All-Seer. So welcome to one and all. Everyone here is welcome. We're going to get started. We're not going to waste any time because I have a limited amount of time on this platform. Hopefully the video will finish and we can enjoy the entire video after it's done. So I'm going to be narrating through it. There will be times where I actually give an example of a specific area that we're focused on, but pretty much I'm going to read through the entire program. So this is Course 1, Spirit 1 of Netter Fundamentals of the All-Seer, one who stands in immovable peace. The video is about the final level of self-spiritual mastery, Auser, according to ancient Egyptian spirit science. Auser, which is pronounced User, is the all-seer of ancient Egyptian spiritual science, refers to our connection to the divine mind of God. It's the highest level of mastery of all 10 spheres of earthly manifested energies. It's the ability to achieve a state of inner peace in the midst of outer chaos and our ability to receive divine messages. This state is achieved after a rigorous battle with the animal self, the lower nature, and our willingness to submit to the will of the divine. Of course, that's through inner divine guidance, which is your intuition. The portal for Osirian energy, self-spiritual mastery energy, is located at the top of the head. The prior video was about Amen. Amen is about an inch above the crown chakra. So 0 and 1 work together, which is Amen. And Osir is actually the entry of that downloaded intuitive knowledge into the crown chakra and then into the third eye. We'll talk about that later. It's the location of the physical body where information is given to us by our personal guardian angels, ancestor spirit guides, and ascended master guides who walk with us daily throughout our life to guide us and give us special messages that pertain to a specific set of circumstances that we are currently facing and the guidance we need to overcome or surmount a non-material or material obstacle. It's the point of entry of a message through energetic transmission, which is the crown, as I said. The energetic message must then pass through all of the other spheres and back up to the crown chakra to ensure perfect alignment with the guidance that's given. Auser is the level of spiritual mastery where we reach a level of emotional mastery that surpasses common lower nature themed behavioral responses. We learn to rationalize challenging experiences with logic and the proper application of wisdom in this sphere. This level of spiritual mastery is recognized as achieved when we are able to find the lessons we need to learn from karmic or unpleasant experiences with angst, anger, or harsh judgments of ourselves and others, of course, being what we master. It is followed by an efficiency in transmuting and transforming base energies, which are negative vibrations we come into contact with or that we create within ourselves, which can remain stuck in our emotional body if we do not process the memories or emotions in our subconscious mind with knowledge and divine wisdom. In this sphere, we obtain the higher understanding that is to be gained from the experience and the events properly. And basically, it's energetic alchemy through the mind. Its requirement is diving deep into the emotional body and becoming clear on what a particular experience is offering us in regard to gaining divine wisdom and cultivating acceptance of the truth in situations that include emotional challenges. Basically, this refers to spiritual mastery and emotional mastery. Everything we go through in this life is all about mastering the situation and getting the highest knowledge from it. And that's what will help us alchemize the energy. It's understanding why we went through what we went through. Spiritual messages and divine communications. Messages that come to us by spiritual means are indirect communications from our spirit guides and are termed intuitive messages. They come to us in various forms such as dreams, repeating numbers, animal totem images, and even visions. Some spiritual aspirants have used herbal agents such as mushrooms or ayahuasca to induce communication with the divine. This is not recommended for everyone because of the high risk of hallucination and or hurting or harming oneself or another. That's basically ingesting toxins that alter consciousness. So it's not something I recommend, but to each his own. I don't judge anyone for what they choose. The objective is to intuit the messages and to act on the higher guidance received. Basically, it's intuitive messages. So here we have an image of Uranus, the planet Uranus. It's above the crown. It's direct connection to the Auser energy. I'm sorry, it's at the crown, and above the Uranus is the connection or the portal to the universe, which is the Amen energy, connects us to all universal energy. The crown chakra is the Uranus energy or the all seer or the Auser energy, the self mastery energy, and it is transferred. Information is transferred through this portal of the crown chakra by God, source, the divine, our spirit guides, angels, ascended masters, or ancestors. So this intuition portal is the highest level of mastery, and it is an area where divine message transmission happens. Spirit 0, 1, and 2 connection, how the all-seer sees. In the previous video to this one, we discussed the state of zero, Spirit 0, Amen, which is the achievement of unconditioning our conditioning. And achieving a state of immovable peace is a newly conditioned, emotionally balanced framework. Spirit 0 is the conduit or grounding wire to the cosmos above the head, which allows messages to be received from the divine to the higher self, the highest spiritual aspect of the divine self, which is Spirit 1 or the crown chakra. Spirit 1, the crown chakra, receives the messages and downloads it into Spirit 2, the third eye or the first eye, also known as the pineal gland, or in ancient Egyptian science, it's known as the third eye or the eye of Ra. Here we have an image of a meditative man. He is a Buddhist and he is in the meditation process in nature. He is going within and he is contacting with the divine. I'm not saying that Buddhists meditate on the universe. However, they are masters of meditative states. And so I definitely recommend Buddhist meditation if it helps you. If you're not interested, then follow whatever divine guidance you're given. They also, I'd like to mention, believe in the Krysted Buddha. They call Christ the Krysted Buddha. And so they consider him a master of self as well. So Auser, here it says, Auser is ruled by the all-seer energy of the planet Uranus, the revolutionary one. And this is about an inner revolution of the spirit and the mind. This revolution is an inward spiritual revolution of the heart, mind, and will. The goal is to regain inner peace and joy like that of a child. So as you see these beautiful children here, innocent, pure. This is the state that we want to return to. After we've lived a while, we go through a lot and we end up with a more muddied aura and a more muddied mind. And we just have a lot of monkey mind going on inside of us. And we have to learn how to release all of that and become one with divine through using that 0-1 energy, a movable peace, Amen, and the all-seer energy, which is Spirit 1, the crown chakra. So once we learn to meditate and trust the divine like these beautiful children, we get back into that vibration of divine love, and that's what will bring us further healing. So Spirit, Amen, Amen and Auser are ruled by the sign of Aquarius. Auser is ruled by the sign of Aquarius and the energy of Uranus. So if you follow astrology and you follow the transits of Uranus and what's going on in reference to what's happening and what we're being offered by the divine as far as alchemy and transmutation of low vibrations, negative energies or base emotions, it offers us an opportunity to transform and transmute negative energies. And that's for all signs, all placements, whether it's sun, moon, or rising. So if you happen to follow astrology, following the planet Uranus is your highest self opportunity to transform anything you may be going through. So meditating or getting a reading on your Aquarian placement, if you have any in your chart, or if you just want to watch the astrological movements of Uranus for a time, you're being called intuitively to do that. It may give you some guidance that can help you level up in your spiritual mastery. Aquarius is an air sign. Air is dealing with the mind, and so we're dealing with the cerebral hemisphere of the right and the left brain, which are masculine and feminine in energy. And we're going to go into the expression of that in the form of thought and in expression, not necessarily in the gender. So let's go ahead and move into that area. So Aquarius is a sign that rules mental energy. So it's an air sign. So this has to do with all of us mastering our minds. You don't have to be an Aquarius to practice using this energy of Auser. Okay, we all have these celestial governor powers within us, each one of us. We all have a connection to each power in the universe, and we are all supported by each one of these powers. If we choose to connect with that power of self-spiritual mastery. The universe is mental. It lives inside of our minds and our spirits. As above, so below, as within, so without. The universe is the macrocosm, the outer and the larger universe, and we spirit beings in human form are the smaller universe, which is the smaller inner universe. Okay, we're connected to the universe, and the universe is connected to us. We create with our mind and our spirits, with the powers of God's spirit within the God powers within us. See, God, our spirits are a part of God. It's the closest essence that we have to God, source of divine, the being that gives us life and animation. And so we are connected to God, source of divine, whether we believe it or not, regardless of what we call God, we are connected to God, source of the divine. This is why I term God, source the divine, because there is a source of life. And so regardless to what name you use to identify the creator, God, source. I don't want anyone feeling limited, like it excludes anyone. This is a science of all inclusion of all human beings. It's not a religion, it's a science of our spirit. So however you digest it and understand it for yourself, so you can understand yourself as a spirit better, that's what it's meant for. It's meant for you to follow your own inner guidance, your own spirit guides, your own angels, your own guiding ascended masters. It's all about you communicating with the divine. So this information is just to kind of till the soil of your spiritual mind, to get it pliable so you can be guided by your own spirit team. Okay, so our spiritual powers are governed by the universal powers, which are presented by the planets in our solar system. The universe is the universal motherboard. Okay, um, in a computer, that you have software that is ran by a motherboard. The software in this example, this is not something I'm reading. The software, an example, in an analogy, is the netters or the netteru. Okay, that's why I call this netter science, nature science, divine nature science. So the netters represent the software programs, or how the programs that we use to operate as a avatar of divine. Okay, as an expression of the divine, Father, Mother, God, masculine, feminine energy, and the motherboard are the celestial governors and the laws of the universe. So both are needed, but the foundation of the operation of the software is based on the ability of the software's ability to function is based on the efficiency of the motherboard. And so the universe is always being upgraded to help assist us to operate at our highest efficiency. So they're always trying to work in tandem with the governing powers in order to get us where we need to be, so that we can be at a higher level of self mastery as we move closer to moving into the transition of the unseen eternal spiritual world. And that's after we take off these meat suits. So the universe is the universal motherboard that runs the programs that control access to manifestations and the divine mind of God. The manifestations I'm referring to is our ability to create through the powers of the Neteru, which are the imagination, the will, um, the emotions, the mental body, our connection to the divine through meditation. The Neters are the portals, or the connectors that help us to connect to. They don't help us, they actually connect us to how we manifest through the Spirit of God. So we are directly connected to God, source, and divine, and we're connected directly to the universe. And so we are creating with these powers, whether we know it or not. And this is ancient Egyptian science. So the universal order is a template of the mind of God, or the universal laws. The planets represent aspects of the mind of God. Okay, functions of the mind of God, which we have inside of us. It's how we manifest. Like I said, through our emotions, through our mental body, through our will, through our desires, we function from a spiritual plane, and we manifest in the physical plane through through the spiritual aspects of ourselves, which are neters or neteru. Okay, so the neters or neteru are the functions of the mind of God, and reveal how the mind of God reacts within us, and how it prepares us. I'm sorry, how it the mind of God reacts within us, and how it operates with and within us as a spirit being. So, in other words, the neters prepare what's going to happen in the physical world. And that's why I'm trying to teach you about these underlying aspects of spirit and how they function, because before things come out into the physical world and they actually manifest where we can see them or experience them, they always are shaped in the spirit world. And that's what this science is all about. This is about the preliminary before things manifest in the physical realm. So let's continue. The universe is governed by rules and by laws. We are always creating based on the laws of the universe, even if we are not aware of it. The Neters or the Neteru, powers of divine nature, are ruled by the universal governors, the planets of human activity on Earth. Human experience and activity is measured by the planets and governed by unseen angelic hosts. This is the design of God, source the divine. These divine beings execute the judgment of God, source the divine, and divinely appointed time by God. They deliver karma, which can be good or bad. We all receive according to our own actions and deeds, soul contracts or karmic contracts. These contracts can be inherited through ancestral karma, divine action, infractions, or transferred through intimate unions. Judgment is given under the divine authority of God, source the divine, through the powers of the universe. This power is governed under Herikuti in ancient Egyptian science, which is the Mars energy, and that's ruled by Scorpio and Aries. And according to ancient Egyptian science, spirit science, it's also supported by Pluto, which is a destroyer of what's necessary in order for transformation to happen. Mars delivers judgment according to our actions and our ignorance as well. And it also delivers judgment, which could be a good judgment from blessings, from ancestors that have already mastered past ancestral karma. Um, so it can be either good or bad. The more that we master ourselves and we become the closest version to who we were supposed to be when we came here, then these frequencies of alignment are transferred as an energetic code that goes into the next generation. Is transferred. There is an energetic transfer of spiritual alignment or spiritual misalignment, and that's what this the governors do. The planets govern what is going to be transferred to the next generation or manifested during this lifetime, this actual incarnation we're in now. So let's continue. Positive and negative energy is a part of who we are. We are light and darkness. We are duality. We are both feminine and masculine. Whether we are in a physical form as a woman or in a physical form as a man, it doesn't matter. We're still both using masculine, feminine energy. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So the left brain uh, is conducive to masculine energy, which is force, which is action, which is strength. The right brain is feminine and it represents yielding and femininity and care and tenderness and love and beauty. And so we are always using these energies, whether we are male or female. We're always using these energies. When if you see a very handsome man that takes good care of himself, he's actually operating in a lot of feminine energy, because to care for yourself, your skin, your hair, even your finances, or to make sure, even when you care for, say, your financial portfolio, you make sure you've done all the work you need to do during the year, so when tax time comes, you have a really great tax return and your books look good. I envy professional business people that do that. Honestly, I have a lot to learn in that area. When it comes to spiritual things, Sister Taufi knows a lot, but when it comes to uh, high business acumen, I have a lot to learn, and I definitely envy those people in a good way, of course. But that is a feminine principle. Caring for, whether it's your business or whether it's your home, even men that garden, men that do landscaping, that is of feminine nature. When you are cultivating that soil and prepping, it's a masculine and feminine energy, because when you're actually, for example, if you're prepping soil and you're preparing it for planting seeds, and you've got your mulch and your what other additives you're adding, or whatever type of food growing system you have, all that prep work is like the underlying Ossetian sphere 9 energy. It's like the gestation of a child being shaped into a human being. All that hidden knowledge, all that hidden information, all that hidden transformative power that's bringing forth something to manifest in the earth realm. So when men are cultivating soil and planting, like all the men and women that plant and create beautiful vegetation, especially shout out to all of the pure food creators, all the whole food creators, all the non-GMO food creators. They're working with divine feminine energy. They're working with Mother Earth. And so that's a feminine principle. And there are a lot of men working with Mother Earth, and they are working in the feminine principle. And so, touche to you, those gentlemen that are working with the soil. I guarantee you they are more grounded with Mother Earth and closer to the divine than many of us. Gardeners, yes, those that don't wear three-piece suits or Armani or don't wear tailored clothing because they're out there working with the dirt. They're real heroes and they're very divine people that work with that have a calling to work with the earth. They're very beautiful people. So shout out to you guys. But that's the best principle I can express as far as using feminine energy. Um, I don't know. I can't. I have to get into subliminally. I'm thinking about harvesting, and I'm not quite sure. That's more of a Harakuti karmic energy. That's good karma. You plant and you reap. Um, but the planting of the actual seed, now that's the masculine principle. Okay, you prepared the soil, prepared your mulch, and whatever other additives you need to put in your soil. You tilled your ground. That is a feminine principle. When you actually plant the seed, that is a masculine principle. Just as a man puts a child inside of a woman, that is a masculine principle. Okay, through divine sexual union. So I'm just trying to get us to look beyond the physical so we can think about exactly what masculine feminine expression is. Okay, because we are extensions of Father, Mother, God, God, source, and divine, which is the potential of all things, and then the manifestation of that thought or that potential or that idea. Because even in the King James Version Bible, God said, and God saw it and it was good, or he thought, God said to himself, let there, he thought of something and then he spoke it and it came to be. And so our actions and our thoughts, our words and our deeds are basically reflective of one another. They should at least be congruent. And so I'm just trying to get those of you that are watching and listening to understand this underlying principle of feminine and masculine energy. It really does transcend gender. So let's move on. Hopefully you guys get what I'm saying. So the divine masculine and feminine mind of God source the divine the divine masculine and feminine mind of God, the source of God, source the divine, and how masculine and feminine energy is expressed in human life. It is something you have to meditate on because it's happening all the time. So you can sit and ponder and watch people and watch masculine and feminine energy operate. There could be a woman in a marriage that's actually the masculine, and the man could be more passive and he's the feminine. And so this is what I'm talking about, being able to identify when we are operating in those energies. So I'm trying to get men to understand more when they're taking good care of themselves, they're operating in a feminine principle. And when women are, like the ladies that are bosses and CEOs, these women are operating in a very powerful masculine energy. So I'm just trying to get people to understand how we're using masculine and feminine energy, even though we are expressed as male, female, in genitalia. We are all both using both energies. And so it's required to use either or energy, depending on the situation that we're in and what needs to be done. So I think that understanding this will give a little bit more understanding of the divine masculine and feminine, and appreciation and respect for what people do, and it may cultivate better understanding and even better relationships for those that are in unions, to help understand one another better and what you sacrifice. For a man to be humble is a sacrifice. And a woman should be aware of that, or the divine or the feminine in the relationship should be aware of that. And for a woman to be masculine and to take care of her man when he's sick or something's happened, he's had an injury and she's being masculine and caring for him and the family while he's sick, he should respect that. So hopefully this understanding will create a better appreciation for one another. I hope that's a result of this. Masculine and feminine energy, energetic expression versus gender-based labeling due to genitalia. Masculine and feminine energy expression is not based on gender or genitalia. They are based on the God nature expression within God, source, and divine we are connected to, and are unique expressions of God, source, and divine. Operating in either energy is a choice, regardless to physical gender. There are times when we all need to operate in either energy to obtain the best outcome in a specific type of situation, based on the energetic expression needed to acquire a desired outcome. So that's exactly what I just said. Just happened to come up in the next slide, which is great. So here's some examples of the expression of masculine energy, being expressed, whether you're male or female. Masculine energetic expression has a positive polarity, as does feminine energetic expression. And I meant to say positive and negative. So I missed that. So please forgive me. I'm not a perfect being by all means. I have a lot of imperfection. I'm just doing what I was told, which is sharing the information before I leave this dimension. So here's an example: courage, positive masculine trait. Women can exude courage just as well as a man. Maybe a woman was bullied as a young girl, or she was like told she was too tall or not pretty, and she decides to overcome it and get into a beauty pageant, or she decides that she's going to, a young man that may have been told that he's dyslexic and can't read, he decides he wants to be an author or a speaker, and you know, becomes a toastmaster. That's an example of courage. Over aggression, that's a negative masculine trait. A woman can have overaggression. You can see some women that are very aggressive towards their men. Examples are domestic violence with men. Some men have experienced domestic violence with women because women have been overly aggressive because they have not mastered themselves. And no shade on you, divine feminine out there. I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying that's you, but there are men that have experienced that. So we need to be aware that when it comes to tyranny, it doesn't have to be a male expression. Okay. Speaking of tyranny, let's go to the right. Tyranny, toxic masculine trait. That's just being selfish and not being efficient with resources. And that could be something a man or a woman does, or parents do, not really thinking, or either because they're not educated about how to deal with resources. And so, even though they have children, the children will suffer. Because the parents don't understand how to manage resources. And I'm not, like I said, throwing shade. I'm just talking about the lack of awareness and what it does. Tyranny in the example of this situation is about someone that deliberately does it and doesn't care about who gets affected in a negative way. So that's a negative masculine trait, even if it's a woman that is doing that. Here we have at the bottom territorial protection, which is a positive masculine trait. There may be a man that has a job where he has to travel a lot. Maybe the children are going to a baseball game and mom has to uh, go to baseball game to pick up the boys, and she happens to come up and she's late. She's a little late, and there's a boy picking on one of her sons. And her son is pretty much somewhat almost an adult, 16 or 17 years old. And mom pulls up, and then the boy's much larger than her son, and she comes over and says, he's trying to push and bully her son, and she says, look here, mister, absolutely not. This is my son, and I'm not going to have this type of mentality around my child. And I'll report you to the coach, and I'll report you to the school. So that is a woman moving in territorial protection of her children. It's a masculine trait, but it's a positive one. Do you understand? Building positive masculine trait. Building is a positive masculine trait. Building can be not just building a physical structure. Building can be a woman building up her children. A woman that decides that she wants to be a spiritual mystic. She wants to look into her children's charts. My son is an Aquarius rising, a Pisces moon, and a Taurus sun. She may decide to look up her child's trait and say, this is an example. Okay, this is not my reality. I'm going to be proactive in looking into my child's chart, or I'm going to go to an astrologer. This is just for someone that's okay with astrology. For people that are not, I've gone to the priest. I'm talking to the priest about my child in a situation my child's going through at school, and I need some advice. And you get help or guidance from the pastor or the priest. Or, as I said, you're the type that's a mystic, and you decide to use your own means of understanding your child, or you do some research yourself. Maybe you feel you have a gifted child. They're an indigo child. They're playing a guitar at 5 years old. I'm just giving examples, but building up is not just physical. It's not building structures. It's building an inner structure of understanding and conscious awareness of self. Okay. Building your legacy is going to have very much to do with how you build the mind of your children, and get them to understand themselves from an inner plane, not the outer plane. That's going to be a part of your legacy, because once you leave this dimension, your children are going to talk about you. And how you live and what you teach them is going to be the legacy you leave. What comes out of their mouth and out of their spirit, out of their Heru energy, their solar plexus, their soul, is what your legacy is going to be. Okay? It's going to have very little to do with the monetary legacy you leave, but more to do with the energetic and the mental construct that you leave for your children to live by. Okay. Lastly, physical activity, masculine trait. A lot of women. I just saw a young lady yesterday. I mean, I'm an older woman now. I was used to be a bodybuilder when I was younger. This woman's body was absolutely amazing. She didn't have any fat whatsoever. I mean, just lean. You know, like FloJo the runner. I don't know how old she is now. If she still exists, but excellent shape. This woman's body was amazing. I also saw a woman 79 years old on YouTube that had an amazing physique. So these women, although one was very young, another one's older, absolute masculine energy. I mean, you know, cuts in their arms like Michelle Obama. I'm just amazing. I use a lot of inner masculine energy, but physically I have a lot of feminine energy, which is why I don't look the way that I would like to look at this age, which means I need to do more physical activity. But I've been hurt. I've been in some accidents that has caused my body to be out of alignment. So I have challenges that people don't understand or know about. But that's neither here nor there. Let's move on. Now you understand expressions of masculine energy in the form of expression. I'm not talking about the physical. Okay, so we're going into the inner self. Okay, masculine or feminine. It's just that when you're dealing in your relationships and you're studying your people, your children, your mate, your friends, you know, and you sit back and just looking while you're having your tea or your Armour Palmer or whatever. For those of you that drink alcoholic beverages, you are studying the underlying operation of what they're doing and then why they're doing it. And it's going to help you to understand your loved one, not to judge them, but to help them, to help guide them, hopefully, because that's what I'm teaching this for, is for you to help yourself and others, especially your children, so you can have a beautiful legacy. Okay, so we've gone, this is where we're supposed to be going, the feminine. Okay, so the expression of feminine energy. Feminine energy, as does masculine energy, has a positive and negative polarity and expression. A lot of people think femininity means you're sexy, you're pretty, you're drop dead gorgeous, you know. Um, you look like Cameron Diaz, or you look like Jennifer Lopez, or you look like Halle Berry. No, no, no. That's just the physical expression of the body looking feminine and attractive. Feminine energy is a feminine response to a situation. A lot of men are more feminine in the in the inner plane in the spirit realm than women. They're more loving. They're more nurturing. They're more concerned about their children. They'll go to PTA meetings. They'll show up at baseball, football, basketball, wrestling, whatever, boxing. They're more supportive of their children than the mother. The mother's more concerned about herself. I want to look good. I'm going to go and, you know, that's a toxic masculine trait, by the way. Ego. Okay, a toxic ego, which is all about you, all me, 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 me. That's a very toxic masculine trait. Um, because a positive masculine trait is sacrificial and a negative masculine trait. And I'm not saying either is bad. I'm saying a balance is necessary. You should care for yourself. You should think you're important. You should give yourself gifts. You should have a life outside of your children, because if you don't, when your children get older, you won't have one. You won't know who you are, what you are, why you're here. You have to be in a healthy space and give to yourself. You need to love on yourself. Even if you have children, you need to have some me time. Go to a spa, even if you're a man. That's my suggestion. Self-care and self-nurturing is a positive feminine trait over here on the left. Inventory management. When you are looking into something, that's an aspect of sphere 9 offset. That is you going underneath the surface, under the waters, like under the ocean, and there's good things in the bottom of the ocean. There's some bad things in the bottom of the ocean, but we gain a lot of knowledge from people that are oceanographers and that study marine life. And so this is the marine life of your own spirit. This is the emotional study of self. Okay, this is you understanding yourself emotionally, who raised you, family, friends, whomever. So that's a very powerful aspect of learning self. Um, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this in another video. So this will be part 1. So this is self-care as a nurturing aspect, a positive feminine trait, and inventory management of self as another positive feminine trait. Emotional examination is another positive feminine trait. And negatives would be belligerence, deceit, and unethical illegal surveillance. For instance, a child maybe like 18 or 17, and they turned 19 and they're still living in your house, and they haven't shown you any signs of being like out of alignment with you, what your rules are of your house, but you've been like overly aggressive or like insinuating things a child hasn't done because I don't know, maybe you have a trauma. I don't know that you haven't healed, or you just your child's a good kid, but you just are, I don't know, unhealed from your own trauma, so you assume things that hasn't happened with the child. So now the child's going to suffer because you haven't healed that. That's an aspect of toxic feminine energy. And you could be a male or female parent doing that. So these are just aspects of feminine and masculine energy. I'm going to shut this down here and we're going to go into another video, part 2. So this is part 1 of Sphere 1, course 1 of Nectar Fundamentals. Okay, it's Sister Taufi here, creator kmsc.online. We're going to get back in just a moment with the video 2. So I thank you for joining me. And please, if you have any questions, email me at selfspiritualmastery@proton, that's proton.me. Okay? I'll speak with you guys in the next video. Talk to you soon.